Hello, today I'm going to demonstrate how to get up and running with Openshift on Azure. I've created 3 projects. As you can see here, I'm on GitHub. I have the Azure Openshift. This contains a script and some Azure resource templates. I will explain in a bit why you need them. And I got 2 example applications. The Java Spring Boot app, I will leave that for what it is, and I will demonstrate the Python Flask application later on, which will communicate with the Redis application. So let's get started. I'm going to clone this repository. I'm now in my temp folder. Git clone of this repository. In the meantime, I'm going to copy the URL of the Flask application. Git clone. Here we go. Python Flask up. Okay. Excellent. So let's go to the Azure Openshift. I've created a shell script to get you started. Basically what you need is this Azure resource template, and it will create all the resources needed for this OpenShift Origin deployment on Azure. This is OpenShift Origin. This is basically the open source version of OpenShift, and it's a great way to get started, and what's even better, it's free. So let's get to it. I'm going to start the create params script. I will create a unique name, Chris Demo 2 401 Chris. This is the password for the console, which we'll use later on. I'm going to need a service principal for this deployment. And a service principal is basically an item within Azure Active Directory, a non-personal account which I will use for creating my Azure resources. This resource will also have a password. In my case, it will be hello world 123. And it will need my SSH public key. Let's go for the cut ID public. Here we go. So what it will do is basically copy the parameter file, and in the parameter file template it will change some values based on the input you just gave, and this input will be used for the creation of the resources. Don't mind these errors, those are, you can just ignore them, don't worry about it. So it's done with the first part. Let's have a look in our Azure portal what has happened. Let's go to the resource groups, and you will see there's a new resource group, Chris Demo 401. That's the one I just created. It has a key vault with the same name. If you look in the identity access management part, you will see there is a service principal with Chris Demo 401 SP, and this one has the contributor role. So that's all great. What's also is needed is I will need a key here, and this key needs to contain a reference to my private key. This deployment of OpenShift Origin will need a key vault, and the key vault is basically some kind of HSM, a module for storing secrets within Azure. And within this key vault, I will store my private key, and I do it with this command: az key vault secrets. For some reason I was not able to script it, so I'm not sure why that's going on, but let's just type it in. File, and here I will refer to there we go. So you see it has this is my private key. When I refresh this, it should appear in a while. Here it is, and here you see a reference to my key. Let's go over the ARM template quickly. Parameters, JSON. So here you see the secret, which will be used in the console. This is the client ID. This is the user we just created, but this is the reference within Azure AD. And here you see the reference to the key vault secret. So let's get started with creating it. At the end of my script, I also made a remark with the command on how to create the Openshift origin deployment. Let me see. Yes. One moment. So you will find a command something like this. Let me enlarge this for you a little bit. So AZ group deployment create -g for the resource group, a reference to the template file, and then a reference to the parameters. So let's see what happened here. I need to fix this. I will fix this for you guys. Don't worry. Double quotes. So you just start a deployment. When you do a git pull, you won't experience this because I will fix this. So this will usually take about 15 till 20 minutes, depending on how large your configuration is. It will install all the machines needed for your Openshift configuration. In my case, it's a setup of 6 machines, 3 masters, and 2 agents. That's about it, 5 machines. So this will take a while. I will pause it and come back to you with the demo for the application deployment in a while. So you will see it's still deploying. In the meantime, I've deployed another Openshift origin deployment. It's under the Chris demo 1. The end result will be all these Azure resources. And now, of course, you want to get started. And let me give you a little hint how to get started. What's the easiest way? First of all, start by finding the master. And the master, just select the virtual machines here. And here you can take any of those masters because they're all load balanced. And here you see a DNS name which you can use. Just copy the URL, paste it here, and go to port 8443. And here you're logged in. So that's nice. So in Openshift, a project is a synonym to a namespace in Kubernetes. So we're going to create a new namespace or a project here, and I'm calling it Chris1, Chris Demo 1. Demo projects. That's Chris Demo 1. And in this demo, I will deploy my Flask application, and this Flask application will use Redis. So I'm just going to say Redis. I'm going to choose the non-persistent version because that's the easiest one for this demo. And in this demo, I'm going to use a password which corresponds with a thing I did hard-coded. Yeah, I know, very naughty in my demo app. but the password I'm using is Chris or 123 QWEASD, and QWE is in capitals. So when you have a look, demo project, you will see it's deploying. Cool stuff. Still busy. So let's go to the other app. So this is my Python Flask app. Flask is a framework which is easy to use for Python, and there you can, for example, create a simple hello world application like I did here. Here I define a function hello, and it's routed to this thing, and this is being routed by the functionality within Flask. Here you also see my naughty hard-coded password for Redis. You see this application will connect to Redis, and Redis is available on the Kubernetes cluster because I've deployed it as a service Redis. So here it is. The cool thing now is that I need to log in. I've installed my OC command line, and I'm just logging into this thing. Log in, Openshift command, login, and I will use the username password which I defined in my parameter file. So I'm logging in. You see my project or namespace is ChrisDemo1. So I'm going to switch to by saying OC project ChrisDemo1, and now I switch to this project. Now what I can do is add this project, what I worked on, to this namespace by saying OC new app and just pointing to this folder. So what it will do is it will try to add it. Here you see something appearing. It's busy. Builds. Let's see what happens when we start a build. It will complain about not having an image stream Python 3.4 Alpine in my namespace. So what happened? Clear. In my Docker file, I'm referring to this thing, Python 3.4 Alpine, and this is not available on the Openshift machines. So what I need to do, underwater Openshift uses a Git repository, Gox, but it also uses its own private Docker registry. And this private Docker registry doesn't contain the stuff I need. So if you want to access this private Docker registry, just go to the default namespace. And within the default namespace, you see there's a registry console. Here I log in with the same username password I used setting it up. And here I'm able to see the Docker registry console. So basically what I want to do now is I want to log in to this Docker registry. When you go to the overview of the registry, you see the command what you can use to log into the Docker registry. You see here some kind of complicated password that it created. So I'm going to do this command, and this command is not compatible with the version of Docker I have. So I'm removing the -e, and I'm logged in now. Here you see also a warning on, okay, your Docker registry is not trusted. So what I need to do is add this one to my trusted registries preferences, and here I will add it up. I need to apply and restart it. So still busy restarting. go Docker. So it's running. Docker images. So grab Python. So what I did, I tagged this Python 3.4 Alpine, which I needed in my Docker file, and I tagged it with this Docker registry. (13.93617). This one. And now I need to push this one to the registry. I'm going to do this with docker push 3.4 dash alpine. That's the tag. Signed. Still complaining. Let's see what I did wrong. Preferences. That's weird. Let me have a. So just fixed a little issue. What I did wrong is I put HTTPS in front of it, and I just should have put the host name in there. So I'm now able to log in with this command again, and I can repeat my push commands. Let's see where it is. Here it is. It's pushing all the layers to the repository. And if correctly, it should affect my builds. Let's see here. Go to the correct. Ooh. Refresh. Go to the demo project namespace. Let's see, application deployments. Builds. No builds yet. And let's see what happens if we do a build. It still cannot find the Alpine. Oh, service unavailable. That's not good. Get pods. Let's try again. Am I doing it correctly? 13.93617. I'll see what happens. So what happened here is I'm pushing it to this machine, but I'm using not the correct namespace. So what I need to do is retag it. I'm going to Docker images, and I will tag, let's see, Alpine with tag this one, 3.4 Alpine, and I will tag it let me have a look. What's the name of my namespace? Chris Demo 1. Chris Demo 1, Python, and then version 3.4 Alpine. Docker tag, Docker registry. It says, this is Python. Yes. And now we push it. Oh, we should be careful here. So it's pushing it. This should work. It's done. Let's have a look. It's already running. In the meantime, we have a look at the logs. So in Kubernetes, you will usually deploy a pod or a deployment and make it available in a pod or in a replication controller, and then you would expose it as a service. In Openshift, you also got the concept of a route. And the route, basically what it does, it uses an ingress controller. And within this ingress controller, which is basically some kind of maybe an Nginx or some kind of other mechanism, it looks at the URL, and based on the URL, it will route you to the proper service. So once this is done, this application will be available within the namespace chrisdemo1, but then we need to expose it as a service. And then on top of that, we will create a route. I will show you the commands for this in a while. So it's done. Let's go to the builds. You see it's all complete. That's all nice. Let's have a look. It's done. So what we can do now is expose with the following commands. You can say one moment. So already we did a lot of stuff. When you just did the OC new app, you see already pre-compiled message, and this message says how you can expose your service, and you can expose this application with this command, and the port for this application is 5000. So what we will do is OC expose Azure OpenShift Python Flask app on port 5000. It is exposed. Let's see what's running. So here we see that this application is running. Let's go to the services. Here's the service we just exposed, and here you see a nice route link. We just leave everything default. Create hub, and here you see it's using the nip.io. This will route it to this thing, to this public IP address we created within the deployment, and then the route will use this ingress to route it to the proper service. And here you see hello world, and it uses the Redis cache when I refresh it, and it has been started many times. So let's go to another browser just to show you how cool this is. Here we go, buddies. This is cool stuff. So I hope you guys liked it. You could see it was quite easily set up, and it will provide you a mature environment for you to deploy your stuff on Kubernetes with a managed solution by Red Hat. Have a nice evening. Hope you guys liked it, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me.